Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video we will be reviewing the Illuminate by Tisdale and BH Cosmetics collaboration palette. This is a first impression video as well as a review and a tutorial. So it's kind of like my first impressions of the palette, me trying it out for the first time, doing this eye tutorial for you guys, and then letting you know my thoughts and that sort of thing as well. So if you guys are new to my channel or you haven't seen last week's tutorial review style video on the Shannexo BH Cosmetics palette, I will leave that listed down below for you guys and linked, so you can check it out if you want to see what my thoughts and opinions were on that palette as well. But this video is going to be in the same style as that, so with the review at the start and the tutorial at the end, and I will leave the timestamp down below for you guys, so you can just click on that and go straight to that part of the video if you don't want to watch the review or whatever, totally up to you guys. So this is the Illuminate palette by Tisdale that she made in collaboration with BH Cosmetics. It's a really pretty little palette. It is made out of cardboard, as are all of the BH Cosmetics palettes, and it is a little rectangle shape. And then on the left hand side of the palette we kind of have like this foiled gold leaf kind of thing happening. I don't know what you would call it, but it's just like a little detail that they have. And then in the center of the palette it is just says Illuminate by Tisdale. I really like that it's like gold and everything. I love like gold and pink packaging. So the packaging is really nice. It kind of reminds me of pajamas. When you open up the palette, we have a little mirror at the top. This is really good quality as well, just like the Shannexo BH Cosmetics mirror. I like that they're actually good quality mirrors. They're not like the really dingy plastic ones that kind of make you look all distorted. It's actually a good quality one. So the little skinny rectangle ones are the eyeshadow pans, and then the large square ones are the face pans. Obviously you can use them for whatever you want, and I actually use this one on my eyes today and then this one on my cheeks, but you can use them on your face, you can use them on your eyes. It doesn't really matter too much. There are no rules. The one thing I don't like about this palette, which I have to point out right now, is that it comes with a little sheet, just a little plastic sheet which has all the names printed on them. I can't remember which way it goes, but I find that super annoying because if you want to actually remember the shade names you have to keep that sheet, and obviously I'm not going to keep that. I'm just going to toss that into the bin because there's just no need to keep it. I would prefer if they were just like written next to them or down below, or just didn't have names at all, just like the Shannexo palette, because then it just makes it hard for us YouTubers when filming tutorials to like describe each shade and say the exact name. So that was just like a little pet peeve of mine. It's not a big deal. I don't really care if I don't have that little sheet. It's just annoying that the sheet's included, and then if you don't keep it you don't remember the names, and it doesn't have them written on the back. All that's written on the back is like the ingredients and that sort of thing. So I've just jumped onto the BH Cosmetics website, and this palette is actually called the Illuminate by Tisdale Beach Goddess 12 Color Eye and Cheek Collection Palette. Just thought I would throw that out there for you guys, just in case you're like looking for it and you can't find the exact one or anything like that. But this palette retails for $18, which is roughly like $25 Australian, I think. So that $18 is a US dollars, just so you guys know. I just want to talk to you guys quickly about the eyeshadows and cheek pans themselves. I was a little bit disappointed with this palette, to be honest. If you guys watched my Shannexo BH Cosmetics review, what is that on my jumper? What is that? You would know that I was really pleasantly surprised and impressed with that palette. I was like, I love that palette. I use it all the time. So I had really high expectations for this one, but unfortunately it just did not live up to the quality and expectations that I had from using the Shannexo palette. In my opinion, the Shannexo one is levels above this one. The eyeshadow pans in this palette are just very, very chalky. There's a lot of kickback, so when you dunk your brush into the pan, it leaves a lot of like, it picks up a lot of the eyeshadow and then just leaves like little crumbs of it all through the pan, so you're like kind of destroying the pans every time that you use them. And I wouldn't have to dig my brush into the pans so much if they were pigmented, which they are not. The eyeshadows come off very, very chalky on the skin, and they're not very pigmented whatsoever. I found it really hard to build up the pigmentation, as you guys will see in the tutorial. It was actually frustrating me quite a bit. So that's why I had to dig my brush into the pans quite a lot, and then I was using a lot of product when I shouldn't really be using that much product. The eyeshadows, like the shimmery ones, are really, really nice. Like they look really pretty when you swatch them, and they look like they're going to be so pigmented. Like they look really good. This one was kind of chalky, like that one's not very nice, but these other two here were really, really nice. They come off like really nicely pigmented and shimmery, and then you put them onto your eyelids and there's just like not really much there, not really much happening. So what you swatch in the pan onto your fingers doesn't really translate onto your lids when you're using a brush. And I even tried using it with my fingers as well to pack it onto the lids, and it just really wasn't translating nicely. I also found as well, when I was packing the shimmery eyeshadows onto my lid, anytime that I would blend into the crease just to make sure everything was really seamless, I found that like some of the shimmery parts would just wipe away and there would be nothing left but like a very slight pigment of like a matte eyeshadow. It was like the shimmery, like the chunks of the shimmer and the glitter were just getting swiped away, and I kind of have like patches of that on my eyelid. It's really strange. I don't know, the quality of these eyeshadows wasn't really there for me. The blush is quite nice, but like it is just really chalky. They just seem, I don't know what to tell you guys. I'm really disappointed and really unhappy with the quality of this palette. I personally would not recommend you guys to purchase this. I almost had half a thought not to put up this video because I don't really like posting negative reviews, but I just thought, seeing as I did such a positive review on the other Shaaanxo BH Cosmetics palette, and then I just had such a letdown, disappointed feeling from this one, I thought it was only fair to share the good with the bad as well, just in case you guys were going to purchase this palette because the Shaaanxo one was so good from me raving about it. That would really break my heart if you guys spent your money on this and you were disappointed with it as well. So I thought it was important to upload this review even though I wasn't really in love with this palette. I think I'll probably be passing this palette on to one of my sisters just because I don't love it and I don't think I will ever reach for it again. If you guys are still interested in seeing the tutorial portion of this video, then please stay tuned. Just remember, you don't have to use this exact palette. You can switch out the colors that I use for different eyeshadows that you already own, and you can just treat it as like a inspiration type of tutorial. But yeah, I really hope that you guys liked this video regardless of my negative review. I feel so bad doing it. I don't like saying negative things about brands and products, but sometimes it happens, and products unfortunately aren't perfect for everyone. So sad about it because I am such a big High School Musical fan. I love Sharpay. I grew up on that shit, you know what I mean? Like I'm 24, so like I was in my prime time of like my 12-y days, 13 and up, living for High School Musical. So yeah, I'm sorry Sharpay, but this one just doesn't really do it for me. Anyway, that is all I have to say. I'm going to stop rambling right now. Please stay tuned for the tutorial, and I will see you guys in my next video. Alright, so I don't know where my non-crazy tape is, so we're just going to use rainbow tape again because it's really pretty. And then I'm just going to go in with some concealer. I'm using the Urban Decay Naked Skin Concealer in the shade Light Warm. And I'm just going to pack this onto my eyelid and we're going to use it as an eyelid primer. And I'm just blending it out with the Sigma, what is this? The F64 brush. And then just to set the eyelid, we're just taking a mix of Bora Bora and Tahiti, and we're just going to blend those out onto the lid just to make sure when we go in with like any other eyeshadows, everything kind of blends really nicely over top. And I'm just using that same brush. Then we're just going to go in with this shade. I don't know how to say the name, so I'm not going to say it. And I'm just going to work that into the crease. There isn't really any other colours that I can use as like a transition colour, so I'm hoping this isn't going to be too dark. And I'm just taking that on my Sigma E35 brush. Alright, so the first thing that I'm noticing about these eyeshadows is that there's not a lot of pigment. At first I was really scared to use this colour like straight into the crease. But as you guys can see, it's taken me a few goes to like build up any sort of depth. And I'm just kind of switching, I'm trying to say switching and swapping. I'm just kind of swiping from like windscreen wiper motions and then like circular motions, just so I can make sure everything blends in really nicely. So I've decided I'm going to just pack that entire colour over my eyelid because I feel like doing something really bronzy and smoky. And we're just going to go in with the Sigma Blending E25 brush. It's just kind of a little bit more tapered compared to the other one, a little bit flatter, so it's really good for like packing onto your eyelid as well as blending. Yeah, as I was saying before, these eyeshadows are not very pigmented at all. Like just this one that I'm using now is pretty chalky. They're pretty easy to blend so far, but there's just really not a lot of pigment there. So I'm just going to go back in a few times and build up that colour. And then I'm just going back in with that same Sigma Tapered Blending E35 brush, and I'm just going to make sure everything is blended nicely. Then I'm just taking the shade of Rhubarb, which is kind of like a warm brown. It's just a little bit darker than the brown that we were just using. And I'm going to take that on that same brush that I just used to pack the brown over my eyelid. And then I'm just going to work this into like the outer corner sort of area of the eye. And I'm just going to pack it on a little bit as well because there's not a lot of pigment. And when I say not a lot, I mean none. There's none. And then just going back in with the Sigma E35, just making sure everything is super blended. Okay, so now taking the shade Barbados, it's just like a little bit more of a neutral, kind of has like purple undertones in it, but it's just a deeper brown to what we've been using. I'm hoping this one has a little bit more pigment than the other ones, but I'm not going to hold my breath. And I'm just taking that on the Sigma Winged Liner E06 brush. It's just a really teeny tiny little angled brush, and I'm just going to start packing this colour across my lash line. Across my lash line. There is so much fallout with these eyeshadows, and there's a lot of kickback in the pan. Like they're just like really chalky and just all over the place. Alright, and then after I've laid that down super messily, I'm just going to go in with the Sigma E36 brush. It's just a really tiny little blending brush. And yes, my brushes are like super dirty right now, but I don't care. And by the looks of it, I'm going to have to go back in several hundred times to build up any kind of pigment from this. Alright, I'm just going to dunk my brush straight into that pan. Alright, so now I'm just going to go in with the shade Saint Bart, and I'm just going to take it on my Sigma E54. This is the E54, and I'm just going to pack that onto my lid. At first I wanted to do like a all matte smoky eye type of thing, but those matte shades are just so bad. Like I just can't do it. I need to put some shimmer on so it doesn't look like god awful. Alright, so they swatch really nicely. Like look at that when you swatch it, and then look at it on my eyelid, like you can't even see it. So I'm going to try and pack it on with my finger. And then I'm just going to take the Sigma E25 brush and just lightly blend that into the crease. I feel like when I just blended that, it just blended away all the shimmer from where the crease is, and now I'm just left with this chunk down the bottom. Like if I just sweep my brush over it like this, it's just like the shimmer's gone. So now I'm just applying these Esquito lashes in the style Gina. I love these, they're so pretty. And then I'm just going to take my lash tweezers and just like make sure they curl nicely with my natural lashes. So for primer today, I'm just going to use the Kat Von D Lock-It primer because I've only used this once so far and I want to keep testing it out just to see how I'm liking it. And I'm just going to massage that into my skin. And then just on any areas where I have larger pores, like on my nose and just on my cheeks in this little area, I'm just going to apply the Benefit Porefessional primer, and I'm just going to pat this into those areas. Then for foundation, I'm just going in with the L'Oreal Pro Glow foundation. I am in the shade 205, and I'm actually going to mix it with my L'Oreal Lumi Magique primer base. So I'm just going to dot those two around my face. I really like mixing this primer in with foundations, especially when it's like heading into like spring and summer in Australia at the moment. And I'm actually just going to blend that out with my Sigma Flat Kabuki. This is the F80 brush, and I'm just going to pat this into my skin in downwards motions. This is my absolute favorite brush to apply foundation with. I feel like it just makes it go on so seamlessly and so perfect. Then for concealer, just going in with my Urban Decay Naked Skin Concealer. And then to bronze, I'm just going to go in with my Chanel 10 Day Soleil bronzer. I hate how I say that. I feel like I sound like such an Australian bogan. And I'm just going to take that on my small contour brush from Sigma. This is the F05 brush, and you guys know I'm obsessed with this for contouring my face. It's just so perfect for like cream contouring products as well as powders. It just blends it out so well. Basically I just dunk my brush in there and then pat it into my skin. I don't really like to swirl it around on my skin too much and like buff it in. I prefer to pat it so nothing like, so the foundation underneath doesn't really get disturbed, if that makes sense. And then before I add any powder to my face, I'm just going to go in with this highlight from Tarte. This is the Tarte Exposed highlighter. It's like their new one that they came out with. It's really pretty when you apply it to the skin. I'm just taking that on my Sigma Tapered Highlighter F35 brush. I love this for highlighting my face. And I'm just applying this to the high points of my face. I want to do it without any powders on my skin, just so it kind of sticks to the foundation and we get like maximum glow factor. Then going in with my Sigma F64 Soft Blend Concealer Brush and my Laura Mercier Translucent Setting Powder. I'm just going to set underneath my eyes, and I'm just lightly packing this under my eyes using patting motions, just so, because if you swipe it kind of like swipes the foundation and stuff around. And then I'm going to switch to the Sigma Tapered Face F25 brush, and I'm going to set my entire face with that same Laura Mercier powder. This powder is so good if you're someone with like oily skin. I personally have normal skin, so I don't really tend to get too oily throughout the day. It just kind of, it's like the normal amount of oil production. I don't know what I'm trying to say. But this powder makes me super matte, so I feel like this would be really good for anyone with like oily skin. And then just to brighten up under my eyes a little bit more, because I love like a really intense under eye highlight, I'm just going in with Emphasize by MAC. I'm just taking that on that same brush that I used before, the Soft Blend Concealer, and I'm just going to swipe this underneath my eyes, the same sort of areas that you would like highlight in. And I actually like to take this down the sides of my nose as well. As you can see, it's already like brightened this side up so much more. Then for blush, I'm just going in with this one from Tarte. This is in the shade Sensual. It's one of my favorites. It's just like a really pretty peachy tone. And I'm taking that on my Sigma Large Angled Contour F40 brush. I love this brush for blush. And I'm just going to pack that onto my cheeks. I love like a ton of blush, and this is just like the perfect colour. I love it. Look at it. It's so pretty. So pretty. And then just to set my face and finish off the look, I'm just using the Skindinavia Makeup Finishing Spray. This spray is the best. I would recommend this for anyone who has like oily skin. I love it because it keeps my makeup on all day. Like it just does not go anywhere. And because I'm going out for dinner tonight, I want it to be set. Finishing sprays are really good as well if you want all your powders and everything to kind of like mesh into one and like not sit on top of your skin. So I'm just going to do my lips before we move back on to the lower lash line. I'm just taking this nude lip liner from NYX, and I'm just going to line my lips. Alright, you can probably hear my dogs and a ton of background noise because my dad just got home from work and they're just like going crazy. And I'm just going to go in with Bobbi Brown lipstick in the shade Bobby. This is one of their luxe lip colours. These are so nice on the lips, you guys. And then just because I don't like my lipstick to be too pigmented when it's this dark, I'm just going to take my finger and just kind of blot my lips. And then to top it off, because I'm just so extra and annoying and I love mixing stuff, I'm just going in with this Face of Australia lipstick in the shade Lychee Crush. So noisy, so noisy. Alright, and now that the face and everything is finished, I'm just going to zoom you guys back in. We'll try and attempt to do my lower lash line. And yeah, we'll see how it goes. So just taking the Sigma E25 brush, and I'm just going to take this shade again. I can't remember the name. And I'm just going to buff this onto the lower lash line. And then with the Sigma E36 brush, I'm just going to take this shade here again, and I'm just going to buff this to the kind of like outer corner of the eye, and just make sure it blends and meets up with the outer corner here so everything's like seamless. And then with the Sigma E30, I'm just going in with this shade right here, and I'm just lightly buffing that to the outer corner. Actually, I'm going to bring that along the whole lash line. What the hell is with the noise in this house? And then on that same little pencil brush, I'm just going to take a mix of these two shades, if you guys can see, if I can hold them in the frame. Take a mix of these two shades. Wow, I am the worst. I am the worst. A mix of these two shades, and I'm just going to apply those onto the inner corner of my eye. Alright guys, so that is it for this tutorial. I really hope that you enjoyed this review slash first impression tutorial. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to check out my review and tutorial using the Shaaanxo BH Cosmetics palette, and I will see you guys in my next video. Straight in the tutorial. So with the L'Oreal Pro Girl Spring. Rude! Just